We have a very special stream today. Um, it will not be a gameplay. It will be a game analysis instead, but a very peculiar one. It's a series of four games that have been played by me and some friends that I'm going to introduce you very soon. And all the games with the same seed, therefore the same setups and the same faction. Very much like the Arealitos tournament that some of you may have heard of. Shout out to Arealito, by the way, for the core idea of this whole thing. And so basically, what we did was play four mirroring games with the same for faction, only that each one of us was playing a different faction every game, and we were also playing them um, at the same pace. So in such a way that there wouldn't be any meta game aspects to it, like for example, someone seeing that one opening for a faction would be too strong and then for denying it at, in a subsequent game. So it was actually played the fairest way possible. And the turnout was very interesting to me. So without further ado, I will present you the other players. Arun, aka Roadrunner 19, which you may also have heard on the Paya Project podcast.
Hi
Uh,
guys.
vizkris
Hello, guys.
and Sharath, which is not here, maybe. Uh,
He's on mute.
Hi, hi.
okay. I'll ask you, of course, to anyone listening or watching to tell me if there's any issues with the audio, um, so that I can try and fix it. And I think we can start. Arun, if you want to take the the word and talk a little bit about the
Sure.
setup and the rotation which you did and decided for the four
Yes.
games.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the series was actually a lot of fun to play, and I think it taught all of us quite a bit, starting with the rotation to the faction picks to the what happened in the game itself. Uh, when it came to the rotation itself, I think what I was looking at was, of course, first the advanced style. The Ivits advanced style is on science. The three VP per fed pass style, and of course, I mean this is a tournament where the I mean it's okay if you pick up. I mean it's not a tournament. It's a series where I guess I mean, how you guys played it in the tournament was that a faction could be OP, but everyone gets to play that faction. So over the four games, it would balance itself out. Uh, but anyway, I wanted to make a tough map for Ivids, or no Ivids preferably. And yeah, like I thought something good for the Ambas would be interesting. And the rest I mean I like gray. I gently like gray a lot, so I said okay, I see a good tile for Firak on economy, so why not incentivize them to enter the game. uh yeah, so I think that was pretty much it for the rotation. I just
Okay.
didn't want to make Ivits strong because that tile is quite good for them. So I said okay, like as long as Ivits is not too strong, other factions, I just somehow balance it amongst each other and hopefully give four viable setups. Four factions,
Arun,
yeah.
may I ask you a question? Did you give
Yes.
any thought about Gaia? It's in the round five and Gaia
So
endgame.
the see that's the problem, right? So because we have Gaia final scoring and fifth round Gaia, and the center two sectors are probably the best Gaia sectors, or like one of them is a sector Itars love, one of them is a sector which Terence loves. I don't know. I mean, it was very difficult to make a map that was really helping many terraforming factions. I think I kind of expected at least two Gaia forming factions to enter the game uh, from the setup. Yeah.
Yeah, I will now reveal the extra rotation because I was still on the starting app before the
Oh
rotation.
right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
this was the rotation. So now you all understand why it's friendly to gray, nice to ambas, and yeah, I think we should go with the picks we actually had first, and then maybe discuss what else could have been
Right. So
picked.
I think Babuk, you were the
I
first pick
was
in this
first,
game.
yeah.
What went through your mind when you saw
Well,
this setup?
I also love gray, as every one of us, so I bought into it very quickly. I saw a good map that would allow a very early federation for Firax.
Hmm.
A very good track actually, because yeah, there's the big building in round one, and there's a position where they can realistically get the PI plus research lab start. There's two
Hmm.
early on trading station rounds, which also goes good for them. And of course, round six advancement is just their best. And on top of that, of course, the a very good tile on top of economy, with a very convenient tile at the bottom of it. The only thing I thought that was risky was that Firax is not really a first seed pick generally, but partly because it was, as you said, a series of four game where everybody got to play every faction. I kind of want to yeah, to challenge a bit Firax, because I think they have a lot more potential than a lot of people give them
Hmm.
um, credit to. And so I thought, well, maybe in this kind of setup, even in first seat, they can actually do surprisingly well. And then I ended up playing the worst Firax game of you all. And next one is Chris.
Yeah. So, yeah, my pick for the game was Sambas. Though I I was the one who didn't play as well as the other people. Uh, yeah. So the main things that are going good for Ambas are um, first the map. So. Uh, you could see a few options like if you there is a brown in uh, s- sector 9 and there's a brown in sector 7 and in between the two browns there are two Gaia planets and all of them are at the range 2 from each other. So since Ambas started the first step of the navigation track, it is very easy to go to range 2 and expand in a few directions like that. Uh, and also, I didn't feel yellow was very strong in this game. So once I take Ambas on the terraforming track, I can start taking over all the yellows also. Uh, and then since we had uh, g- uh, Gaia bonus for round 5, I I felt a few other uh, Gaia factions will enter the game, maybe Terrans or Itas. So, so I felt that there would not be that much competition on the era forming track, and So mainly that was the reason, and another reason was the fourth round is a federation round, and if you plan your Ambas game quite well, you can easily make F federations in that round with uh, Ambas, and also the advanced tactile on navigation would be a good one to score at the end. So mm, those were the things that are going for Ambas in this game.
Cool.
So I think Sh- Sharath can now go over
Yeah,
Ethos.
the third pick mine, I wanted to pick Gaia faction, and the most comfortable for me was Ethars over Terrans. And I think maybe the map wasn't that great, but still the end game was Gaia, and fifth round was Gaia. So it was quite, what do you say, inviting me to pick a Gaia faction. What better than Ethars? And I thought maybe people would try maybe science, or I mean like AC, Ethars, or PI. I just wanted to anyway. Four games are happening. I just wanted to check out which Ethars would be the better. We know Ethars are a beast of a faction, so I just wanted to see how people go. I mean, it was an experiment, so I wanted to see which will be better. But in the end, Gaia scoring, I mean, like the end game Gaia scoring made it better for a PI, guess, and which proved
We
actually.
shall
No, no,
see. We shall
actually,
see. We shall
we
see.
shall
We
see.
shall see.
Yeah,
We'll,
yeah,
we'll not spoil it
yeah.
yet.
That was the reason.
uh,
Yeah, and
yeah,
Mr. Arun.
yeah. So I think when I saw the picks, it was Firax, Ambas, and Ithars. So already within the first three picks, Firax has gotten sandwiched. Uh, so now when I was looking for my options, the I mean, Terrence was an option which I considered. Mm, they could go up against Ithars on Gaia. That was one option. Orange, I didn't like too much because okay. Also look at the first three factions now. It's Firax, Ambas, and Ithars. Where are they likely to begin on the map? So one option was yellow, just purely in terms of neighbors, because on sector 3 there is a yellow which neighbors a white and a brown. Uh, However, I don't know. I wasn't too convinced by yellow because Xenos. I mean, the I don't like the advanced style on AI for them that much. And in the end, I said, okay, you know what? I've made this map what I think is quite difficult for IVITs. So why not bring in an IVITs into play? There is no blue, there is no orange in the game. Uh, Firak is probably going to go Eco, Amba is going to do Nav, Terra, Itar is probably going to do Gaia and one of the Science or Eco. So why not? Like, let's try an IVITs. Have I really made the setup difficult for them, or will they still dominate because they're IVITs? Is what I wanted to answer.
Okay, so it was actually uh, fun that we got to test some very like considered at least very OP faction, but of course they are stronger than average. And I think the one of the most interesting things that I learned with this series of games is some things on those two factions in particular, Itars and Evids, and how yes they are very strong, but um, also on why they are very strong and on doing what they can be so strong. But I don't know if you agree, if you all agree with me, but I think that EVITs in particular really have a very kind of ugly map uh, in with this rotation. So I would probably have never really picked them um, if I was, uh, let's say, fourth player here, picking into these factions. But we'll see
Yeah, I think
very
even
soon
while
how wrong I would have been.
rotating, sorry, so while rotating, I was assuming that Sector 7 would be a busy area. So even if an Ivids came, I thought Sector 7 would be a difficult spot for them, which is why in Sector 10, when I rotated it, I actually gave red a favorable side on purpose because I said, okay, if at all an Ivids comes this game, they can start here. Is what that was the thinking during the rotation for me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go on through all the picks. And I think we can go through the starting position, unless some of you
Yeah,
has
yeah.
something to say about an affection that they were surprised that that they didn't see in the game. If anyone has something like that.
Mm,
I was
I
kind of
think
surprised about not seeing Terrance, but
yeah.
actually, what everything that Sharath said when talking about his guitar speak, I think I mostly agree, and also it kind of explains it.
Yeah, I think if at all Terrence instead of Ivets, but otherwise I
Ivids,
don't
yeah.
see. Yeah,
Yeah. The map also does look a
Yeah.
friendly to yellow, but
it does. But the problem is then Xenos, you probably have to do a Nav Terra game, I guess, because the int AI tile is I don't know. I've never been able to make it work. Honestly, the three knowledge tile
mm,
on QIC track. Uh, but yeah, like
yeah, that's true. Although with around six science advancements, I don't know.
mm,
I agree that it wasn't they weren't very appealing for me either. So we'll
all
go
right.
on. Oh, sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, let's go to the starting positions then. I guess.
Um, okay, okay. I'll. So this is the first game um, where I was playing Firax, and I actually ended up being the only one um, with those two starting planets. Which might have been a mistake in hindsight. But my thought was that um, I wanted an early federation in order to avoid, for example, maybe even Ivits wanting to go up economy instead of science. So I
Mhm.
wanted the fastest tempo that I could on economy track. So I didn't bother putting the second mine apart. Um, and that position to me was interesting because I thought there was maybe a world in which I get enough charge to pull off a PI, a research lab, and also an extra mine in the first round.
Mhm.
And considering that both Grey Planet could have been under some kind of threat, with this position, I was ensuring to get at least one or of the other if I ever got a chance to build that extra mine. Um, and then I
I,
think the other
I was
position were,
wondering.
yeah,
I was wondering about Ithar, like 2/9. Like, would you have? How come you chose 2/9?
Me, I
Mhm.
wanted, what do you say? I wanted to leech the Firak machine power. That's the main reason.
yeah,
Nothing else.
Yes.
and you were right.
That's it. No
Um,
other reason to put.
Yeah, fair enough, I
I
guess.
think
Firak is a compelling reason.
I think Amba's placement and Ivit's also was the same in all of the games. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These two were same in all games, where I think
Okay,
yeah,
so
Firak was different in every game. We should.
yeah,
By the way, mm, if you want to avoid spoilers on scores on the other games, maybe we
yeah,
can
I
use
know.
that replay functionality which Coyote set up recently, where you can go into the log and click uh, I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, because that's also an option
Oh,
for replays now for us. We
you
don't
know
have to
what?
use the sidebar.
I'm doing that. I had totally forgot that that existed. Okay. Hope nobody saw the scores in. Okay, I'll go for the starting position in all games.
Oh no! Hide your screen. Hide your screen.
Uh, like that. And
Yep, exactly.
okay, that's all. So, I know there's one more game. It's four total.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, do you want to do all the games once? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, the second game looks very different. I mean, the two factions that we know that were changing are very different. So, uh, well, first of all, you Aaron, why did you put the two? I mean, talk us through your placement for Firax.
Right. So the mine in sector 3, I said anyway because that's a good area for a charge station, I guess. The other thing was I was almost 100% sure at the start that I wanted to play a Gaia forming Firax. And I figured that if I started both my mines on this side of the map, then there's no chance I'm getting to that side of the map. Or I have to really invest a lot in mid game to get to the left hand side. And that area was so good for Gaia forming Firax. There are 3, 4 transdims, Gaia planets, everything. So I said, okay, screw it. And also I predicted, I mean, I expected that the Ambas would come to that Gaia planet on 6 in the first round. So I would have neighbors very soon. Uh, of course, this had the risk that I might lose some of my existing gray planets on the right hand side because Ambas are quite deadly that way. But I said, okay, let's just see how this goes because I really wanted to do Gaia forming Firax, and I said, okay, I take the risk.
Interesting. Um, the other faction that changes a little bit is Itars, which went on the other on the white planet in 9. Um, Now, of course, that's probably due to Firax not being in Sector 2 at
Right.
all. But what did you have in mind, Chris, with your guitar's placement?
Yeah, I think yeah, if I go back in hindsight, that this was not the best start, but yeah, like the reason I put it there was it was just next to a transgem, and once I start the Gaia forming, I don't I can just go up first on Gaia forming, and then I can think of navigation. So that was the idea behind going to 9. And I also felt some building could happen at the 9 Gaia, and I could get a bit of charge. So I didn't feel too worried about not being next to a faction at the beginning.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mhm.
Third game, we see it's me playing Eaters, and I played and I placed in the same way as Chris in the other game. I had a different start in mind though, but we'll see that later. While Sharath actually went
Yeah,
for
I
a
just didn't want
different,
to lose my grace.
yeah, that's yeah, fair enough.
Single
In
skip.
hindsight, I like immediately after the start, I probably liked your start, which is I think pretty much aims for the same uh, start and strategy that mine. But I think yours in hindsight was uh, better. Uh, because yeah, I mean, even placing like this, you're not really threatened to lose your grays, like your grain
Yeah,
seven.
basically, if Ambas wanted to take, they had to, like, spend a QIC, or they had to go on the seven Gaia. It'll take a bit of time I had enough
Right.
time to go on to my, what do you say, Grey Planet.
Yeah. And the last game, it's Chris playing Firax, and went again with a different variation um, for Firax, but also always in the same side of the map. Though. What?
Yeah, I put the put a mine in 7 because I I could also jump to 2 and start building on a few in the south.
Oh, all right. Okay, I think we can go through the openings now.
Uh,
Well,
do you
sure,
want to
we can.
quickly look at the boosters as well?
Yeah, yeah, that's I was going
Yeah.
to show exactly that. So, um, okay. So these were the boosters. Okay, I show it in the first game. And so, Arun, which was the first one choosing, went for the big building booster as Ivits. Itars went for the range booster. Ambas went for the QAC, and I went for one that gave an ore that was still left because there weren't any good ones. Um, I will talk briefly about mine. I went for the mine instead of the trading station because I wasn't sure at the beginning if I was actually going to pull off a PI plus research lab opening. I was actually pretty skeptical about it, so I thought that I would get mines instead of trading station out, but I went in with like if I can, I want to do the PI in the first round, but I was keeping a plan B open, which actually, in my expectation, was more likely to happen than the PI, to be honest. And yeah, so um, I'd say first of all, Arun, why the power charge and big building?
Uh, I think I was just looking. Ivets, they love the big building booster. They get power charges. They can probably do two power actions early on. It's a great booster for them. So I actually didn't even look at the others.
Okay, fair enough. And it does with the range booster.
Yeah, basically, I went to one corner of a map, right,
Yeah,
in Sector
I will
9, I
show the
guess.
map. Okay,
Yeah, so Sector 2, sorry. So I wanted to come to Sector 9. That was the initial plan. Yeah, that was the plan to go there. So I took the range booster.
okay. And can you tell us if you were planning on building an academy in the first round or a planetary
Yeah, I
institute?
was actually planning on going for an AC, but if I had gotten the 2 hour power action, which I couldn't, we'll see later. So I went for a PI, which I changed from AC to PI. I needed the 2 hour because the booster I was taking didn't give me any resources. I didn't like going up on the Terra. I don't know. I don't feel like with Itas at least. I don't like going there. So if I get a overpower action, I would have done AC, which I couldn't get. I went for a PI. So it all
Okay,
changed due to thanks to IVITs.
okay. And lastly, Ambas went for the extra QAC.
I
Uh,
think Ambas went for the same booster in all games. That was the only one available to them, I think, which was good.
No, 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 no.
Oh
no,
no, it
I think
wasn't.
there was a
somebody had
Oh
the
booster.
range
yeah,
Maybe
right,
someone
right.
went
No, no,
for that mines.
Range
oh
booster
no, no, no.
someone
This
a
got.
country,
range
yeah, yeah. I think
booster, I think.
Babok got the rain booster. I remember
I
that
did
game.
I did get the range booster because Chris took the QAC in game two, and since we are there, Ivits are unchanged, and Firax got the trading station
Oh, yeah,
instead of the
this.
mines, but that doesn't change much. So here, what's interesting is knowing why Itars went for the extra QAC instead of the range in game
Yeah,
two.
had an uh, I had an interesting idea. So I wa- wanted to go for the uh, AC with Titas. Um, so and then wanted to take them all the way to Science Tree. So that was my idea, and also I didn't want to pick like so to go to Science Tree the one not any other uh, options to get an extra or something.
Okay.
So so that's the reason I picked it, and I thought if I didn't get the two all action, I could convert two UICs to two all and
Okay.
make the uh, AC.
Okay. So basically, for you, the QAC was just an or.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So on to game three. Once again, if it's take the same tile, um, then Itars, which was me, took the range booster. I took it for similar reasons as sharath. Only that I actually had in mind from the beginning to go with a PI. Um, I never really thought about academy because I thought in this setup it would have been rewarding for ITARs to be Gaia forming very early and to you often PI ITARs can go have a very good economy, have a very good expansion, and they can often go for federation, which uh, of course was good for the final scoring of structure in federation. It was also good for Gaia, so I never really thought about doing anything else than a PI. I had there was a slight issue, maybe a very big one actually. The two token booster is missing from the game, and I actually never seen, I think, someone play PI ITARs without that token booster. So I kind of also was intrigued to try it and see if it was playable, how hard it would have been to to play ITARs burning a lot of tokens without having the token booster.
How did you feel? I felt very tough actually without that booster. I had to
Uh,
not.
Yeah, in fact, we are gonna see. We played some very different openings. in terms of burning power. And yeah, yeah, I think it was very hard, um, and definitely the way you did it was more conscious of that problem than my way of doing it. But finally, we'll go to the final game, um, game four, where I actually playing Ivits didn't take the big building booster. I took the range one instead, and the reason for it was well, basically in general I like it as Ivits, to be a little bit more flexible in the early expansion of, although in this game the, I mean, EVs were pretty much guaranteed to not get really too boxed in. But what I thought was very interesting is getting the Gaia planet in Sector 6, near Ambas, which puts me pretty near um, another red planet, an orange planet, a nice cluster where if I'm going to do a little bit of Gaia farming, I can get a hold of a nice cluster. That's also gonna be near other people, so have neighbors. Whereas the other line that's easy to see for EVITs, which is basically expand into Sector 9 and then just on the south, basically the whole game, could give maybe some neighboring or charging problem. But yeah, then we will see also that all of these plans of mine didn't really get executed, but that was my thought. And the other interesting thing is that Chris, as Firax, didn't go for an extra ore, but he went for an extra knowledge instead.
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah,
lab booster.
yeah. I was I decided not to go for the PI plus TS opening. So and I felt this extra knowledge would help me reach Eco 4 by the end of the second round. So my plan was to just build the lab and then go on all the grace. That was my plan.
Okay. Um, by the way, hello El Templo. We have a guest in the chat.
Hey, hi
Uh,
Mateo.
okay, so basically we went through all the picks, all the booster tile picks in round one. Um, let's see how the first round played out. So I'm gonna be showing the first game of the four first, and I will be advancing very quickly. So Ambas went uh, to nav two as expected in order to expand. Firax, which is me, I built two trading station to maximize leech. And
Uh, I decided to go for the two ore action.
yeah,
So I was
exactly.
Ivets in this game, and I said, okay, maybe I can get the Gaia planet in 9 after this action. I went very greedy, and yeah, I got punished quite hard.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first move actually. I see a guy free over there. I didn't knew actually when I clicked the what do you say, uh, what is that booster, the range booster. I could see that giving me option to go in. Then I see, oh, the range is 4 from the top one. Okay, then let's go. I thought, like, I went for that.
Which was
Oh
of
yeah,
course a
that
Gaia
that
planet.
already. Yeah, that already finished, I think, my game as Ivits, because I did not have any neighbors. I could not get enough charge to do a single dig. I'm like, shit, what do I do this round? I have nothing to do any.
But you have to or. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually considered manually digging the blue for 4 ore. I was like, is it worth it? Is it really worth it?
I also we can note that ITARs upgraded near Firax, which was the only way I was gonna get the PI out probably. Um, and I actually gambled on that, thinking that ITARs might prefer upgrading near us rather than near Ambas because, well, um, charge
Yeah.
coming from Firax is always very inviting, but who will have gotten the better end of the bargain? So we get to the we go further down the round and we see Itars also taking the single dig. Any thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
basically the transdim which was near to the gray, that was more inviting me to dig. So, and I was decided by then I'm making a PI, so let's why not expand a bit.
Okay, and that of course takes also the dig away from Ivits.
Yeah, yeah, that on the day.
Maybe they had
Screw you with us.
maybe they still had some hope that Ambas will upgrade near them, uh, although that was probably unlikely. Okay, so here we see my first mistake of the game, which is up, upgrading the trading station near Ethers to a lab, whereas the plan was always to upgrade the other one and make the PI near the Ethers upgraded structure. But I just had a brain fart and do it and did it the other way around. Um, and that of course provided Ethers with a good bunch of leech in the first couple rounds.
Yeah, thanks for
And
it.
you're welcome. Um, what else? We see Ethers go for PI. Ambas going for a lab, uh, taking the tactile on terraforming, so the 4 credits, which is very good for Ambas. And I want to get to the thing I find very interesting. I managed to pull off the PI trading station and um, the extra mine in the end, which is the best scenario I thought I could have. And you may be noticing now that Itars actually passed without placing a Gaia Former in the first round, and they had only burned 4 power, so they still had um, enough power to get at least one tactile from their PI, but um,
I think you need to scroll a bit up. The portion is covered by your video. Yeah,
yeah,
fine. Now it
the
works.
video you're watching is probably a bit delayed, so we are seeing Itar's board now. So can you talk us through Sharat why? I mean, if it was always the plan to only burn
Um,
4 tokens, or
no, the thing was like if I did a Gaia farming, I had to use all the tokens, basically 6 tokens if I used it. There was a huge amount of charge which was coming from Firex. I would have lost a hell lot of it. And this 5 charge would give me, I mean, 5 power tokens in third bowl would give me nice, what do you say, uh, power action. And I am the first in the next round. I didn't want to lose such a nice power. So that was one of the main reasons. That was the main reason for not doing Gaia farming. I just put 4 in the bowl so that Maybe I had three planet types. I'll take the planet type tile next in the Gaia forming, sorry, Gaia phase. I'll go up one in the navigation, and I have what do you say, for 3 plus 1 that give me the knowledge of 4. I'll take one more step to nav 2, and as you can see in the map, in the top third sector, you can see 2 steps for a Gaia and then 2 steps for a white planet. And then in the ninth sector, there is a 2 step white planet. So I can see 3 planets close by in the nav 2. So that was the main reason I thought, okay, let's burn one, take the planet type, go to 2 step on nav and just expand.
And that was a very clever move by you, if I may say.
Yeah, incredibly
Was
clever, actually. Very, very
Yeah,
clever.
yeah. It seemed to me at first like a very suboptimal start, but actually it was very 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 well played. So kudos to Sharath
It
for
was.
that. Okay, we're in game two. We are already seeing some differences, um, namely, well, the starting position and difference, and there's actually a charge party between white, gray, and brown in sector three. And that's basically the reason why I went trading station right away instead of advancing on navigation first.
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
and we see that Chris actually didn't bother with the 2 hour action, but took the dig instead to take the blue planet in sector 10.
Oh, no, that
Uh,
was Ivits, right?
That's
It was
me.
Sharath.
Me.
that was Sharath. Yeah, that was Sharath. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I after seeing what Road has suffered, I mean, yeah, Arun has suffered. I mean, it was pretty obvious I had to dig.
Yeah. Yeah, we were supposed to play them at exactly the same pace because of this, but actually
I
it
mean,
was
half a second here and there, I'm okay with that much learning, I guess. I mean, that
yeah
was stupid. I mean, I think if you had asked me to play this again, I would not have done this. It was such a stupid move. Like, yeah, like,
yeah. It didn't turn out so bad though, but well,
yeah. I
we'll
mean, yeah,
see.
that's true. That's true.
Okay, so we see a lot of charging action going on in sector 3 away from Ivits, and we see uh, well, Ambas getting the 7 credit that maybe didn't happen in the other game. I don't remember actually. Uh, but yeah, we see um, Arun also building a second mine and then a second trading station. So basically, wanting to go for the same PI plus trading station plus mine opening. Um, Ambas are doing pretty much the same thing. Itars are doing, as Chris said earlier, an academy to go to Science 3 to get the eight knowledge income from the first round. Um, Ivits has had a start with very little charge, but in the end, a pretty standard start for Ivits, which is uh, one mine, one research lab, and one federation, as we'll see. But the interesting thing here, in my opinion, about Ivits is that unlike all the other games, they went to economy instead of science. So, and if
Uh, yeah, basically, I mean, from my experience, what I have learned, I mean, like on iWits is like, if you don't have economy, it's pretty tough for me to play. So I thought the eco tile is also pretty good. Okay, the science tile is more enticing, but I thought, okay, I mean, like, let's settle for this. It might give me some 25, 26, I mean, sir, 26, 24 type points. Maybe it's okay. But I want to play, what do you say, luxury type of events instead of fighting for each and every, what do you say, or a coin or anything. I wanted to play a peacefully leisure game. So I just went up on the eco. That was the main reason.
Were you
And he
also
didn't care at all
thinking,
about the Firak.
yeah, were you also thinking about hurting Firak in some way by taking their tile instead of, I mean,
Yeah,
how
I
did
mean,
you evaluate the economy track advanced tile against compared to the passing Federation tile?
I mean, like if thing is like if I take the science style, I had to be sure. I mean, to maximize the potential, go on the Terra top, and I see. I mean, like because I was also playing Ambas, and like I knew Ambas wanted to take that, so it'll be a very tough competition to take this and that. So I thought I'll get only maximum. I mean, like I might not get the Terra top, and this will give me how many? Like if I take in the third round, it'll give me 3 plus 6 plus around it'll give me 30 points. And this is also giving me 26 or 24. That was the end. It is giving me such a nice economy. And anyways, after taking the eco top, my next priority would be to go on the science because it is a step boost. I mean step tile. So the next thing would be going on science. So I'll have a very good economy, very good science. I can make easily four feds, and I can take some QIC actions in the mean and after going taking that what do you say eco top. So I thought let's play, let's go there. And on one more thing was like people weren't going to charge me. The eco at least gives me some charge, which
Yeah,
will be very useful. So
that
all
was
the
a
things are
very good
playing into
point.
the eco.
So yet another very clever move by Sharath.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I think I wanted to mention one thing about the Firaks in this game.
yeah,
So
oh,
thinking
you
was
this
that I would probably do the lab TS and a mine, or maybe something like that. And if I get lucky, I would do the PI. Was my idea. But then I think because of how the charge developed early on, I got the 2-or action. Again, this is the second game I'm getting it. And I also invested 2 on the Terra track. And I think I used up 1 QIC. To me, it was worth it because I managed a PI plus
yeah.
lab plus mine start. But I don't know. I don't know the economics of it, whether it's actually worth. I always find it to be worth it, even though I sacrifice so much with them. Like I even burned 2 power tokens. Yeah,
Yeah, actually, your start was more efficient than mine because I had the same start, but I didn't get the 2-hour action,
hmm
so I had to convert more power.
right.
So I guess you also had a power situation that looked a little bit better than mine. Um, yeah, but most importantly, I think with your start is that you also had a better position on the map because
hmm
you were basically pretty likely to get the gray planet in sector 7, but you also already had a mine on the other side of the board, which
Right.
none of of the other Firax games had that kind of position.
Right.
And the third game. Oh, and we're not talking a lot about Ambas, but I think they went for the same opening in the first two games. I don't know, maybe the amount of
Oh, I
mines.
think the difference was I think Babuk, you went to Nav 3 while Chris
Yeah,
went to Nav 2 and Terra 1.
yeah, exactly. But we ended up with the same amount of mines otherwise.
Yeah.
I think
Only
you
I got
Oh
wanted
no, I think one more mine for Chris, I guess.
it's 5 mines for the for in the both it's
I
a
see.
research lab and 5 mine in both cases. Only
Done.
that I got more Gaia planets, more printed Gaia
Right,
planets,
right. All right, then
which
let's go to the next game.
yeah. Uh, you know what? There still is a very big spoiler because the title of the games in the
Yeah.
tabs.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't know why we keep playing this game of
No.
teasing the spectators. Okay. Oh well. So the third game, we have Sharath playing Firax, Arun playing Ambas, me playing Itars, and Chris playing Ivits. So it's very similar to the second game in the sense that there's a charge party happening in the same place. We see Chris doing a different move as their first move. He doesn't take a power action, but he takes the Gaia planet in Sector 9 uh, right away. Was it because you were afraid of someone taking it, Chris?
No, like I thought if Iraq's make a lab there, it would be a good spot.
That's that's very fair.
That's the only just so I just went before it got taken.
Okay. So we see in this same scenario that Firax also managed to get the 2-war action, which also is very much like the other game. And then I think we see the defining move, at least for Ambas, probably this game,
Yeah,
which
it
is
was. It was.
me as Itars taking a Gaia planet that was very interesting for Ambas. And basically, I was sitting on the range extension tile, and my original plan was actually to take um, a white planet and save the QAC later for when I get to navigation 2 and go for the stretch in sector 3 and 4, all those navigation to planets. But then I said, oh, I can actually take a Gaia planet, which is good for me, and also really mess with Ambas at the same time. So I went for it. And yeah, how did you change your plan afterwards?
I mean, my original plan was to do exactly what Chris had done, which was to make as many, or like what both of you had done, but with Terra 1 and Nav 2, like RL plus 5 mines. And but then I realized, I think that, so again, I was greedy because I wanted the charge from this charging party. So instead of doing nav2 with Ambas initially, I just built a TS. And then second move, I did a nav2. And that's when I realized, oh shit, Babuk has the range booster. I'm not going to get it. What the hell do I do now? And that's when I said, okay, like let's change the plan altogether. And I think on hindsight, I was quite happy with how the start turned out for me.
Yeah, I think it was very. I mean, we can say what you ended up doing because we are gonna get there
Yeah.
very quickly. You ended up building an academy in round 1, and I must say I was really surprised at how similar how the results of the research lab and many mines and just the academy was. Like you had still a pretty good Ambas game.
Yeah. So I
Also,
think yeah,
you
sorry, go ahead.
went to Terra 2 with your extra science step.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So my aim was that I would have four knowledge in round two, which would allow me to go to Terra 3, which would then give me the route to expansion basically. So my aim was to then take the gray in 7 and then take those Gaia and the brown in sector 7, and also then the Gaia in sector 6. So the thing is, the academy start is great as long as you have a route for expansion in round 2. And I decided that going to Terra 3 in round 2 was the best way to secure my expansion.
Nice.
Okay, so I think the last thing to check. Oh, you also pull off an extra mine, of course. So it's academy and 2 mine actually. I
Ah,
also
yeah.
decide to go with PI as guitars, and the only difference with Sharath is that I go for a more traditional PI opening, which involves getting 16 what did I say? 12 power tokens.
And
16 would have
yeah.
been great, but it's not what happened. Um, 12 power tokens into the Gaia Ball, and so get uh, free tech tiles on the Gaia phase of the following round, which in hindsight wasn't really that good, um, because there was a very big shortage of tokens, and also the tactiles that I ended up taking were the most economic ones, and that actually didn't allow me to go to a fast nav 2, and I think that was my main issue with ITARS this game, that nav 2 in round 2 was so good for them looking at the map. And so, yeah, well spotted by Sharath in his game, but me, I just went like textbook ITARs, and took, we can advance and see, can get till after the Gaia phase, and took just like the 4 credits and the points per Gaia, and the ore and power. Therefore, not having any navigation in the following round. Um, I think that's it. If go for science in this game as well. Um, I think in all games except sharaths, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, all of
And
us went science except Sharath.
yeah, so we all went like also textbook EVs chase the pass federation tile, and
Yeah, the shiny object on science.
yeah, and yeah, I like how we are going to bust this myth today, by the way. So the fourth game was very interesting. Um, I'm playing Evits, and I have the range booster instead of the big building tile, and I take um, the dig first. Uh, the the charge party is happening a little bit different in sector 3 and 9, um, in the sense that Ambas is getting the most, uh, and Itars are getting less charge, and we'll see maybe how this will affect Itar's game. And yeah, as I said, I go as Evits with the range booster to the guy in sector 6, which also annoys Ambas, as well as doing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I achieved in these games, annoying Ambas the most I could. Um, so we'll go a little faster. So Arun, you were playing Itars here, and you build an academy, we see, with an extra mine and go up economy. Did you have any particular plans in mind, or were you just going
Uh,
standard?
I was going for the standard. I mean, I don't know how standard it is because all of you did different starts. I think. Oh no, I mean technically, Sharath and you did a PI start. Chris did a academy start up science, and I generally like the Ithars up this way, up economy, because I can then make the PI in round 2. I mean, at least usually I can make the PI in round 2. And the way I expanded, I wanted to make my PI in sector 9 because now I knew that the Firak lab would appear there. I mean, I'm telling you, all our games, like if there's a Firak, it's like all roads lead to Firak.
Yeah,
Like where the Firak lab is, we are going there for sure.
everybody's chasing the Firax lab.
Yeah. But again, I think I don't know if my opening was the greatest again because again in this game as well I got the 2-hour action because I had the big building booster as Ithars. So I could just burn 4 in my first move. But apart from that, I also went up Terra and I also took the 1 or 1 QIC tactile below Eco. So I'm not sure if it was optimum, but I said, you know what, I don't care if I have an excess of ore, because I really really want the pi up next round. At least that's what I was thinking at the time.
Makes sense. Um, and now we see the other difference, which actually I find out this also very, very interesting. This is Sharath on Ambas, and he decides with his lab to go up science, which is a path that none other Ambas player took.
Correct.
Basically, I wanted to compete with Ivits for the three VP federation, and I can see in Sector 7, I can peacefully form a federation by digging onto the Sector 2 yellow. And the second round being the TS round, I thought Ambas are anyway excess with ore. Let's build 3 TS, which will give me more of coin for the next round. And I fed in the third round itself, go up, and let's put fight for the 3 VP for Fed, which quite worked out almost. But yeah,
Which almost worked. Yeah.
I would too strong.
Well, we will see about that actually. I think since we are on this game, we are now talking mid game. I think because uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we see a little. Yeah, there's a little difference with Ivits here as well, which is that I actually wait. I don't know if I want to say wasted, but I took one step on Terra Track because I actually ended with two mines and a research lab and a federation. So I only took one step on science, um, which probably wasn't that smart after Ambas decided to go science as well, but it was, I think, already too late when I saw Ambas going there. So,
Were
yeah,
you surprised, Babuk, when you saw Ambas going up since?
I was surprised, but I was also very skeptical that they could actually achieve anything.
Yeah.
Uh, but they actually got very, very close. I think since we're talking mid games, no, well, maybe we keep going in order. Maybe that's more. Uh,
Yeah,
there's
my bad,
it's
my bad.
tidier like that. Um, so how shall we do this? Maybe I still advance
I
manually.
think you just keep advancing manually, and if something really crucial happened, we'll just point it out, I guess. Because
Yeah,
otherwise, we'll just spend a lot of time on the early rounds.
yeah. Yeah, we'll just do a small commentary on each game as it goes. Game one, Firax achieved their uh, in round two their the top of economy as well as their federation. Basically, they're all set to take the advanced tactile. Maybe even too early because there's really nobody, literally nobody on economy track, and I don't know why I was so pressured to get that early.
No, I
Um,
think it was a wise move, Babuk. It was a wise move. In your game, it happened that you didn't have competition, but we shall see soon what happens when there
yeah,
is competition.
better too careful than not enough. Um, we see in game one, Sharat's Itars taking, well, he explained it before, so very low tech in the first round,
Yeah,
but they, yeah, it gave them a very nice economy, and by the end of round three, they were already at forming three. They had a lot of planets already. Uh, they grabbed a lot of territory. Um, Ivits, on the other way, played by Arun, are kind of stranded. Uh,
Yeah, I was
and
struggling. There was zero leech in the game, no neighbors. It was
you
terrible.
had one expensive trading station in the first round because you didn't
Correct,
manage
correct.
any neighbors, and we start to see a pattern in all games with Ambas, which is going very quickly up terraforming track. I think we almost all of us had in mind uh, to rush Terra as soon as possible. Had that as a priority, like uh, top of Terra can't be left to Ibis this game, and if anyone could take it, it was Ambas, and that's why we see Ambas rush. Um, I think we can get up to round 4, which is literally mid game, and we see the situation.
You
Yes, sorry.
yeah you can just pause like towards the end of round 3.
No, you can pause it here for a
Yeah,
second
like
because yeah.
like
Okay.
maybe like 2 or 3 steps behind, like a, a
So when
few moves
so
before, before Ambas went to top.
Okay.
Yeah,
so basically what Chris is going
somewhere.
to talk about is
Yeah,
so I'll just
yeah,
explain my
just
decision.
yeah, just to yeah, maybe like more moves before, like maybe 10 moves or
Yeah.
something.
So basically, I, as
Yeah.
Ivets, decided
Uh,
to rush Terra because
hmm.
I said I was already having a really bad game economy wise. I was not getting any charge. I thought, you know what, if I can rush Terra and snatch that advanced style. Anyway, my science advanced style, I mean, 3 points, what am I going to do with it? I'd already messed it up. So I said, okay, let me go for the Terra. And
Yeah,
yeah, now
so
Chris.
yeah, at this point I saw Events rushing up Terra. So that's why my plan was to make a PI in the Sector 7 Gaia. With that PI, and then the mine in Sector 9 and the mine in Sector 3. So they would be one fed, and this AC in Sector 7 and the other mine on top. There'll be another fed like once I swap the PI, and then like I could also plan for something in this uh s- with this sector 6, and that they taking that yellow in sector 6. So that thing was my rough idea on how the feds should look like. But then when events came up Terra, I just did decided I'll just form the Fed immediately and be prepared to go to Terra top ahead of them.
Okay. So now the
But
question.
yeah, but then this thing didn't work out well in the long term.
So now the question that comes to mind is: did Arun actually calculated that he could win Terra, or were you just uh, trying to put pressure on Ambas and see if they and hope that they would give up?
So I wanted one of the two. That was my aim because I knew that with Firak on science, there was no way Firak was going to make a federation anytime soon. So I could go up on Terra and take the advanced style for better points. Or if Chris is forced into his early federation, because I mean that was also a factor because I said, okay, I have the federation anyway. So if he wants it, he has to take it right now. So one or the other would have been fine for me. And in the end, I think I was happy with what I got.
Cool. So basically, these were the highlights of the mid game of the first game. Uh, we advanced to the second game. Um, the second game, we can see already from the mid game onwards that it's very different. Chris's guitars having gone for a science approach uh, don't
Yeah, he
manage,
has
of
8K
course.
around now.
Yeah, of course they don't manage though to build their PI in the second round, so they managed to expand quite a bit though, going science, going nav, and I don't know if any one of you has anything interesting to point out.
No,
If
nothing
just,
yet. I mean,
I mean, we are now going to see Evits taking the advanced
yeah.
style and scattering all Firax dreams on the economy
Oh
track.
man, it was one turn. It was one turn. I really thought I could somehow manage it, but damn, it's. And you know what? The worst thing was, I
Finish
realized that
to
he
the
was there,
resources of
and I didn't make the federation. I didn't make the federation because I said, you know what, this Ivits is here. He's gonna take it. And the Ivits actually took a turn, took a 3 QIC action, got another like 150 points into his bag before taking this. That pissed me off so much. I'm like, damn it, I should have made the Fed just to force you quickly.
Yeah, I get it. It was, yeah, losing 5 points, but also making Evits lose 5 points, or maybe more
Yeah,
actually, for a free QIC action. So yeah,
yeah.
not a nice situation to be in, definitely. Um,
But yeah, you can
uh,
keep
yeah, sure.
going on, I guess. Yeah. Because I think once I lost Eco, I knew I had only one option. I had to go all in on Gaia.
Where sits the other good advanced type for Firax though, so still not a bad
Yes.
option. And so we see Firax going heavy in Gaia farming. We see Amba set up to build a couple federation in round 4 and taking the top of Terra undisturbed as well. And yeah, that's it for the mid game of game 2. On to game 3. Uh, game 3, what is happening here? Um, Arun's Ambas are rushing Terra, as he said. So basically he starts terraforming some planets from round 2 and grabbing some space that way. Uh,
Yeah. And I
Firax,
think Sharath knows exactly what I want to do, so he takes that gray immediately.
yeah,
That forces me to take the yellow instead of the gray.
yeah, exactly. Uh, which is not a very big deal for you. I mean,
Yeah, it's
just
fine. I mean, it gave me the same thing. Yeah,
yeah, in the end, yeah, only 1 hour spent more.
no, it is still the same because the yellow is also a single tick. Uh,
Yeah,
it was just
I
to
meant
annoy Firak.
I
I just
I
wanted the
meant
Firak
because you
squad.
could take gray and yellow instead of yellow and white. So I
Yeah,
went.
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Um, we see Firax on economy undisturbed, so they are actually playing it a bit smarter than me and are waiting for their federation, considering that there's no threat whatsoever on the advanced tile on the economy. And if it chase their tactile, and yeah, my itars. So what did my very slow start as itars bring me to? I had forgotten about this, by the way. I also went up eco 2 before going up on nav. Basically, I was just very preoccupied that there weren't any good techs to go um, up nav early. I wanted to get a little. I basically didn't want to take knowledge for planet types until the last round because it helped me score. Uh, it seemed a waste also to take the big building technology too early, um, when I could take a nice income tile instead. And basically, what that brought me to was losing a nav2 distance Gaia to Firax, which also linked me to another white planet, losing a white planet to Ambas in Sector 2. And yeah, so basically, I found myself very crippled in expansion, because of my start. And also, I want just note a small detail, that in round three, Firax, before even having any step on Gaiaformia or anything, took the two token action, which I really needed badly as Ethers at that moment, and I really didn't foresee that. So this is definitely an example of Firax messing with Ethers, which uh, is very interesting and also may help somebody playing against Ethers. If you see them slowing down on expansion, you can punish them, even as Firax.
But I guess also that was a sign that Firax was considering Gaia forming soon.
Yeah, I think all of our Firax games involved some mid-game Gaia forming,
Hmm.
especially because there was around five Gaias. Um, Only not everybody executed it very well. I think I only got two transdimensional planet. I went there a bit later, and my expansion was already worse than everybody else. Basically, in game three, um, Firax just taking that Gaia planet in three opened the other side of the map way way more cheaply than how it happened in my Firax game, which was by double digging the blue planet in Sector 3. And
Correct.
that was a very good break for Firax. Also, a very good play. But otherwise, sharath Firax are basically following the same strat as me, only with a better map position. And that strat is taking the advanced tile on eco and then climb science next and just score the most you can out of science steps. Um, Last game, and here there will be something to talk about. So, well, Chris's Firax went more expansionist. They didn't build their PI around one, but they grabbed all their gray planets. They end up in a very similar situation, actually, um, only missing one step on Terra, basically, compared to all the other Firax games. We see Sharath, as he said, in round two, building free trading station, and already having a federation in Sector 7, therefore putting a lot of pressure on the science advanced tech. And then we see in round three, was it round three? Yeah, it was round three. A key moment in where at the beginning of the round, I basically, I think we all, I mean, me and Sharath, we both calculated that unless I get the 2-hour power action, uh, I will lose the advanced island science, and basically the Evit's game is ruined forever, and probably beyond recovery. Except maybe being able to win Terra as a small consolation. But and yeah, and Ethers have the power to take the 2-hour action, and it also seems like a decent option for them. But they go for the 2 knowledge instead, and so I will never thank Arun enough for not
Yeah.
ruining our game.
I was actually, this was the point where I was completely pissed off because I could not make my PI in round two like I
Oh,
planned.
that's right. Yeah.
So my second round literally had one turn. I made a TS and I passed. So I was completely annoyed with that, and I was like, okay, how do I salvage this game? And I decided that knowledge would give me, I think it was enough steps on nav, or I'm not sure what I did, but yeah, I didn't realize it helped you so much in the end.
Yeah, that was a bummer that you couldn't quite have enough charge to build your PI in the second
The
round.
thing is, the
Yeah,
charge was
Faith,
there. The charge came just after I passed. Chris waited
that's
till I
that delayed
passed.
it. Yeah,
So Chris
yeah.
is playing
Yeah,
Firax.
I was doing all kinds of other things before giving charge to Itas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well
Oh well,
played.
you got to do what you got to do.
Um, Anything else interesting in this game? I think.
Yeah, I mean, like once I knew I was gonna miss that, I rushed Terra.
Okay,
To deny Ivets.
so we see again Ivits and Ambas head to head racing for another thing. Only that this time, of course, Terra was won by you. Um,
Yeah, basically I had a federation in with me key, so it was one
Oh
step
right,
ahead of
and
you.
Babok didn't have a federation. Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't have a second federation also. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, basically, one thing that we can point out is that there was no way in any of this game with this faction that Ivits could get the Federation tile on Science and also the top of Terra. I think it's fair to say that that was just impossible unless someone else really misplaying very badly, probably.
Yeah, unless Amba decided to do something totally different, I think that Terra top was always Amba's. It was like it had Amba's name written on it.
Yeah, I mean, even in the game where they did do something completely different, which was going up to Science
Mm,
Pre before even starting climbing on Terra, even then they managed to win it from
right,
Ivis.
right.
So yeah, unless they maybe went Gaia forming or some craziness like that. Okay, so I think we can go and look at the end game situation, look at the scores, and have some afterthoughts. And
Sure.
of course, I have to make a big disclaimer. Mistakes were made, if anything, by me, but I think none of us played really perfectly. We played very fast for a turn based, and also playing three uh, identical games at four identical
Four.
games
Yeah.
at once. Yeah, kind of messes with your head a little bit. So. Um, we don't claim that we played perfectly in all games, but the scores were in the end pretty high. We are seeing the end game of game one, which was probably the well, not probably, without a doubt, it was the one which featured the biggest point difference between last place and first place. And the first place was sharath with guitars and with a whooping 207, and whereas nobody else even broke uh, even managed to break 180. Arun Ivits ended up at 179, even despite their very suboptimal start. Um, So yeah, that tells you something about Ivits.
Mm-hmm.
Firax were pretty close to Ivits at 172. As I said, I misplayed my my expansion a lot, and basically the situation I found myself in the last round was that I couldn't get form as much as I wanted to. I couldn't grab as much space as I wanted to, so I ended up not quite having enough for three federations in a game where it would have had made a difference. A third federation was definitely gonna grant me second place because it was also a string with Evitz.
Also,
And
you would have gone above me on structure fed. I
Perfect.
actually managed 6 points in structure fed in this game, which was a fair
yeah,
surprise.
well, yeah, exactly. I could have formed a federation with 10, but yeah, the round six of this game, Spirax, I yeah was played really badly by me. Um, and yeah, so I missed that too. I mean, I was always kind of avoiding counting if I really had enough for free fed or not. So I was kind of playing some waiting moves, and then when I finally did the counting, it was too late to get a 10 structure in federation. So I even lost those 3 points, which were actually no, still not quite enough to beat Ivitz at least. And we see Amba's game going last, and somebody wanna talk to Ambas while I uh, let in the cat, which is being very vocal right now, and it's bothering me. So if someone want to talk about the Ambas defeat,
Who better
Yeah,
than the Amba player himself?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the first, yeah, I think I kind of made a fairly bad decision in round four, where I decided to uh, make a second academy and go to nav top. Instead of making a PI there. So I couldn't form fetch that easily on that round, and then I didn't have I didn't have great uh, planets to form the other fits. So and then the other issue was I just I didn't pick any advanced tactile, so that thing was a big miss.
All right.
yeah,
In this game, I think it was Ithars who beat Ambas to
yeah,
the
to the
navigation
sector,
Yeah,
sector tile. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
and also I think if you look at the final scoring, Ithars managed 36 VP out of final scoring in this
yeah,
game.
yeah, which was also initially my plan when doing PI guitars. That's basically how I would have wanted my end game to look like. We see that Sharath got four federations um,
Yeah.
and eight Gaia planets, which is pretty good. I think 10 points out of the advanced tile, top of Gaia. So basically everything you want in a PI Ethers game, in my opinion. And
Yeah,
so
it was
yeah, this
perfectly set up
was
for me.
sorry.
No, it was perfect. I was saying I needed that. What do you say, nav top to make a lab. If not, there weren't many basic tiles for me to pick. And then, what do you say, I needed the intelligence one. Needed that both of them to advance on top of Intel track. If not, it was I was out of basic tiles. So everything
Okay.
fell perfectly for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, if any of the viewers have played Ithars, they know that this is a common problem you'll face with Ithars in the end game, that you don't have a tactile, but you really want to climb tracks. What the hell do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And that's why you need to secure some advanced tiles. And yeah, very well done. I think in hindsight, this game Uh, Definitely me as Firax could have played in a way that would have slowed Itars down, but honestly, your opening was just such a clever move. Of course, it goes differently if I take the Gray Planet in Sector 3, if I get 4 more and earlier, and I take some stuff in the left side of the map. But I don't really think it puts your game uh, to a level where you don't win. Maybe you don't have 200 points, but um, yeah, really a great ETR's game.
Yeah,
And
wonderful game this was.
on to game two. And we already see that this game is a lot closer. Um, uh, and it's not as we said, we played them all at the same time, so there was no previous knowledge of the other games, so it kind of naturally
Oh yeah, we also made a point to stop after every round in case one of the games went a bit faster. I mean, in most cases, we were ending games within like few hours of each other, the rounds, and we would start every round at the same time.
yeah, exactly. And so here we see the scores are very, very interesting. To me, this was probably the most interesting game. Uh, so, and I will say why later. First, the scores. So, Sharath won another game with Ivits at 195, but me as Ambas and Arun as Firax are very close behind and also tied at 192, which is a very high number to be tied as second and third.
Yeah.
And yeah, I find it very, very crazy. And Itars having a bit um, uh, of a bad game at 161, which is still a very respectable score, but not really comparable
Mhm.
to Sharath's 207 of before. So I'll say what I find really interesting in this game is that Ivits turned out to actually be better off by climbing economy and taking that tile instead of taking their usual tile on top of science. And yeah, I really agree with Sharath's word that um, science without getting lots of early leech doesn't really work out. And economy is just better as long as you have a tile that you can consistently score points with throughout the game, as was the tile uh,
Yeah. He
here.
managed 32 VP out of that advanced deck.
Yeah, so it actually is not very far from uh, our all our games with EVITs having the Federation tile. And the other cool thing about this game is that when I was playing it, I noticed how much I was going to score with Ambas. At some point, I even thought I maybe could win the game. And I was very surprised because I thought Ambas would have been uh, one of the possibly the lowest, how do I say it? The faction that would have performed the worst throughout the games. And I see, well, actually, they're pretty strong here if I manage to score a 190 and something. And the other thing, of course, was the Firax. I don't know if you want to tell Firax story,
Yeah.
end game
Yeah, so
story.
in this game, because I was forced to rush Gaia thanks to Ivits, I what also happened was because Chris had started with the academy route, his Gaia forming came late, and because of this, by the time he could start Gaia forming, there were no Gaias left on the map, and because of this, in the end game, Ithar's actually got a 0 on Gaia, which you don't see often. Uh, this is again like like some more proof that Firax can mess with Ithars a lot if Ithars give them. I mean, I think Ithars with the PI it might have been difficult to mess with, But Itars with the academy, it was very comfortable that I could take all the transdims I wanted.
And also, you could eke out the third federation really uh, but I mean, you were super tight for
Oh
the last
yeah,
federation.
I actually had given up hopes on the third federation, and I was just doing all the other moves. And at some point, I realized that the two token action was still open, which I hadn't seen before. That I was like, okay, maybe if I get two more leech, I'll manage this. And yeah, luckily I managed the leech. I think if I hadn't managed that fed, I would have been really annoyed because I thought I had a really, really, really nice Firux game overall. Considering that I also missed out my advanced style, the recovery was something I enjoyed a lot.
And think that at what point, since I was missing some satellites and I ended up converting some ore, I even thought about taking the two ore, the
Oh,
two the
thank
two token. But I thought, well, actually, maybe it's more point if I convert all this power into credits and just convert the ore into tokens, which was maybe one more point or something. And yeah,
you.
and I didn't realize that it cost me second place.
Oh
Well,
man, but yeah,
uh, well,
yeah,
once again,
it's
I
like
would
the
never have calculated all of that.
it's like thank you for me inadvertently taking the two or no, leaving the two or action for you in the other game. You
Yeah,
left the two token action somehow in this
yeah,
game for
we've been very kind to each other. And about this game, I would
Yeah,
like to,
and
yeah,
I
exactly.
think, yeah, and the other thing with guitars was uh, somewhere in round five. Uh, so at the beginning of round five, uh, 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 Evans had moved ahead of Iraq's on science, and they were poised to uh, take the 3 VP per Fed also. So, at that time, I decided to discard the tokens and take off the 3 VP per Fed. So, yeah, my original plan was to go up the Gaia track at that point, but since Evits came there, I took that one step on science and took off that tile, but still, Evits m- managed to be win the games
yeah, I mean this Ivets
even
was really
without tile.
annoying to play against.
Yeah.
It was very annoying. He went on eco, he took the tile away from me. Then he went on science. He's like, "Chalo, I want this tile now." What? This is like typical bully Ivets attitude. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they took off science top in round five itself. So I couldn't get the extra points in the last round also. So that's also another thing I missed out on.
Do you think in hindsight that thing just didn't break well for you, or that the Science Academy Open for Eaters was just not that suitable for this game?
Yeah, the this was not that suitable for this game. I didn't uh, anticipate three factions going on the Gaia track. Pirak, Ivits, and Itas. So if it was just two, I could have gotten a few more transgems. Uh, I think even Ivits got three transgems. I think so. Yeah. So the with the
Yeah,
science
this
Itas thing, they lost too many transgems to other
yeah
factions.
this game Eaters were actually last in Gaia, and Evits were actually second place in Gaia with five Gaia
Right.
planets. So yeah,
This
That's
this Avits was everywhere, man. Economy,
Yeah.
science,
yeah,
Gaia. Like, what did you not do?
yeah. One more point for economy with as if it's guys just start on economy and worry about the rest later. That's one takeaway from this game probably. So game three, the actually the closest game I think between last place and first place. Uh, yeah, yeah, I think so. And we see the winner is once again sharath, of course, and
Boo.
but this time with Firax. So up until now we have a third place for Firax, a tied second place, and now a first place at 197. Then followed by a very close Arun Sambas at 195. Then Ivits with a solid 185, and Itars last with a decent score of 175, but still last. And I mean, regarding Itars, I think I I basically uh, already said what I did wrong. When just I wanna just stress the fact that it turned out to be I turned out to lose structure in federation even to Ivits. Uh, to Ivits that that didn't even go up the economy track, so they were not even that rich. Uh, so yeah, uh, delaying navigation 2 was just so bad, and having income tiles and economy track instead just is not worth it. Map presence better than income. That's my takeaway. And yeah, Sharat, what's your secret?
Uh, what I did Gaia farming and going up on science. Actually, no, you were Itash, right? But there were so many translims left actually near me. So I
I
got
did
seven
actually
feds
get the
in.
same amount of Gaia planets as you in your 200 scoring game. Um,
Uh,
But yeah,
the
I mean, I guess this
last,
shows that Firax can compete against even a PI Ithars. I mean, he didn't beat you in Gaia, I guess, but he did a fairly good job. 12 VP, 5 planets sounds good, no?
yeah, I
yeah,
got no, four translims actually. And I went up on science. Basically, getting those translims proved to be useful compared to your Firex. I think mine and Babu's Firex are almost same, except I got more
Hmm.
translims, which led to me third Fed quite easily.
Right.
The second Fed has seven planets in it. All most of them are
Yeah, you
yeah,
had
seven
structure fed
planets.
of 14, which is, I think, the highest structure fed amongst the Firax in all 4 games.
Yeah, those translims actually helped a lot. The easy planets.
Mm-hmm.
The thing being Firax being sandwiched, those we needed those planets for an easy minus level. Yeah, I think doing
Mm-hmm.
Gaia farming helped a lot.
yeah, doing it at the right moment also. We see you never
Yeah,
got to level 4 in science actually. You even though it was your second track,
yeah,
you ended up yeah going for a more
and
expansion.
Poof, and that's a
basically what I
lot
was
of
doing
points on
was like
research.
yeah, and I wanted to say that I was ending up with a lab instead of a TS. So I was getting that one knowledge from there. So I was compensating this. I was getting 8/8
Okay.
for the past two rounds.
Oh, so you're doing the inverted Firax then, basically ending with a lab
Yeah,
instead of a
yeah,
TS.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Interesting,
That's
interesting.
very. I actually did a similar thing. Only I went more heavy on science. In fact, well, I ended
Oh,
up with both more points for the tile and more science points overall. But we see that basically that's a mistake. If you can expand, eke out an extra federation, it's just way more points overall actually, and your science game it wasn't so much worse than mine. It was only 8 less points in research and 4 points, I think, less with the advanced style. But yeah, you ended up with 20 extra points. So in the end game, so
It made the difference.
yeah. So another advice for Firax would be don't don't neglect expansion.
Oh, I
Yeah,
Uh,
think one more thing I noticed in this game. This is game C, right? Yeah, this is my
yeah,
Ambas game.
yeah,
So because so oh yeah, right. So basically, in this game, Nav and Terra were pretty much uncontested for the Ambas, so I took everything there. But the sector tile in particular, I think in other games it was always a battle. In all the games, it was a battle between Ambas and the Ithars. And in this game, because I'm not sure why, maybe because of Gaia competition, I guess, I don't know, but Ithars wasn't coming up navigation. So instead of taking the tile for just 6 sectors, I stretched and stretched and stretched, and I got it for 20, like all 10 sectors.
yeah, yeah. That was a great break for you as well.
Yeah.
Also, one small thing about Ambas is that you played a lot more for that advanced style. Like me, when I was playing Ambas, although I achieved basically the same things, getting the advanced
Hmm.
style on navigation, getting 15 structure in Federation, 5 natural Federation, and top of Terra, etc., etc.
Right.
I was more pressured to get a Federation early. So actually, I didn't use the Lost Planet to get an extra sector. I used it to get a Federation with less satellites
Right.
instead.
Right.
And
Right.
and I was a little bit more pressured in having uh, more federation down, especially farming more federation in round 4 where it scored.
Hmm.
And yeah, I found myself in a position where uh, the moment where I had to take the advanced style on navigation, it was only for 14 points, and,
Right. Right.
whereas could have been better than that. And you actually, yeah, played heavily on sector and was once again facilitated by my eaters that for some reason just didn't bother going up navigation track. And
Yeah, I was very. Yeah. 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 Continue. Continue.
no, it was if you were talking about Ambas, go ahead because it was going on.
No, 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 no. Just go on. Just go on,
Okay.
please. Yeah.
Um, so Ivits once again. No, I already said that they got 6 points for Destruction Federation. Already talked about that.
Yeah, I think we do to game D then.
Yeah, we go to game D. Um, Game D, also a very good game. Also a very close game, but also the worst Ambas game. So that's what you get for going science with Ambas against Hibits, I guess.
yeah.
Um, we
Thing
see,
was, I couldn't make a fed in round 4. I couldn't make a fed.
Hmm. And you didn't make your PI also, right? Till the end.
That was yeah, I didn't use the special ability of Ambas.
you never
It
use
was a
switch to.
disaster. One,
Okay. I mean, you
yeah,
still got for
that's why.
Federation, but yeah. You also missed the advanced style on navigation. Um,
Yeah,
Yes.
that was very much make or break for the Ambas games. We
yeah,
noticed. On the other hand, we still haven't talked about the scores, but the winner here is Chris, and it's another Firax victory, being the only faction that won twice, and also the highest score for Firax. at 198. So, Chris, is PI plus trading station just bad in round one, and is it better to expand more?
I yeah, gave this some thought. Yeah, so my that there were two reasons for why I didn't go for the PI plus TS. One was the presence of Vitas and Ambas. So Faith uh, Iraq was sandwiched, so that so I felt that was a good chance of getting boxed in. So I did decided to build on my grace fast, and other reason was with the PI and uh, TS start, where you make your lab and then come back to TS, or you you'll be charging the other factions a lot. So I thought I would just delay that for some time, giving other factions some extra charge. So though that's why I thought I would just try this out um, and go, go and then uh, s- the second round was for pause 4 points for TS. So I felt I could. So it's basically a 1 point loss by not making PI in the first round
Yeah,
and getting that extra TS in the second round.
yeah, exactly. And also, you never went up science despite having the 2 VP per advanced tile, and actually scored the least amount with the
Ace
tile,
from that, yeah.
but
Yeah,
scoring the most.
I saw two factions already there, uh, Ambas and Evits were there. So I thought I will mix AI like little bit. So build on. So every time I was doing some power actions for the single day goal, double single step or double step to keep expanding. And whenever I got the chance, I was using some uh, UICs to score a few few uh, few actions. Like I don't remember if I did rescore fed or the planet type. I think I was trying for that those things also.
Mm.
You got one of them. I'm just looking at the
Uh,
stats right now.
yeah,
You're
I think
scoring
I
nine.
did. Yeah,
Tokyo, I say. Tokyo, I say once.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you got nine
Maybe I just
points.
got it once, but yeah, like
Well,
I
for
was
9 points though,
trying
so
to see if I was yeah.
Yeah, 9 points. Yeah.
which was pretty good. And uh, this was my Ivits game. Yeah, I'm the only one who didn't manage to get 6 points for structure in Federation. I think I did
I
get
too
three.
had six. Yeah, I also had six.
No, this one. Sharath had zero in his game.
Oh, Sharath at 0 despite winning. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Um, okay. We see it's in another 11 structure in Federation game from Ether. So like my PI game, only this one went 15 points better. So um, another game
Yeah.
where
I
Ethars
can.
did steal the advanced tile from Ambas on
Oh yeah,
navigation.
no. So this game, I think it ended a lot better than I thought it would, considering that my second turn was just building a TS. Like my second round was just building a TS, considering that, I think I scored. I don't know. It recovered quite well because I had the advanced style on Gaia, and I could take the sector tile which was on navigation.
Which
The
round did
mistake
you
I did
take
this.
the trading
Uh,
station tile?
so the trading station one I took in round four Gaia phase, I think, or was it round five Gaia phase? I think round
Okay,
five Gaia phase.
okay, okay.
And the other one I took as my first action in the same round, the sector tile. I took both the advanced tiles together. Uh, so the mistake I made was that I assumed I could make four federations, and I was like, huh, like, yeah, like Ithars usually manages, why not? And I realized around round five that because of my federation placements in the center of the board, the sector 9 fed and the sector 3 fed with the academy. These two were really badly positioned in the end because it completely split my map into. In the end, I realized, oh man, I'm going to get screwed on structure fed because of this mistake.
I see. Still a very good showing at 188. This is also very one of the closest games. Overall, I have to say it, except for
Hey,
the
but
first game,
there was
there
a noob
were.
in. Sorry, Babuk. I have to interrupt you. There was a noob in last place though in this game, 159, the lowest score across all four games. I wonder who that was.
The same who won three of those games and also scored the
Exactly.
highest score.
Exactly.
So that's an achievement, having the highest and the lowest score. Um, but yeah, I want to say that in general these were all high scoring games, probably due to the setup that was fairly high scoring. Um, I think it was also due to the map that was very well rotated and favored a good game for from all the faction that were in play without making one excessively strong. Um, unless we think that Itars were excessively strong, only that Sharath is the only one who knew how to play them. That's very well a possibility. Maybe there was still a possibility to do something against them. Um, but otherwise, I think these were some very well thought games. I want to say some last thoughts, just noticing a couple of things. Ivits, the three of us who went for the Federation tile on top of Science, ended up with very similar scores. We see
By the
one.
way, sorry, Babuk. I have just sent an updated screenshot to you on WhatsApp on the group. If you want to just show that, all the scores are there on the same screen. It might be easier
Okay,
for the viewers.
okay. We'll do it. How do I do it? I will do it. So here we have. We also have this the total sum, so we can do some sort of ranking of us as player, and so that we can boast. Sharath, having won three games, unsurprisingly, uh, uh, got the highest sum, highest total score throughout the whole game, with an average score of 190 points. Um, followed by you at 189. So actually only 1 point
Yeah.
difference, despite not having won a single game. That tells you how close these games were, I think.
Yeah.
I'm another 9 points behind, and Chris is a little bit behind. I mean, only 3 points behind me, but gets farther away from the first place because, well, of course, he had a difficult game both with Itars and with Ambas. And that's for us, for the players, but the faction themselves, we see that the faction that performed the better was Firax. So who would have thought that?
Yeah.
The second best was Ivits and not Itars. Um, the third one was Itars, though, and not very far behind. And Ambas did perform the worst. So as I thought at the beginning of the game, it's just that on the two games where they managed to do the five federations and take the advanced style on navigation, were some games that went actually very well. Some interesting thing to be noted about the different factions. The first thing that I notice is how consistent EVITs are. Um, Basically, all the EVITs that went for the same strat scored within 6 points difference, so very similarly. And sharath strat, which was apparently better, scored an extra 10 points, but they never had a bad game. And no one, not even the game, Arun's game, so game one, where
Yeah,
they,
I was about to mention. I just realized that, like, given that 179, 182, 185 were the three science events, the first round, the mistake did not maybe affect it as much as I thought at the time. At the time, I thought, okay, my game is done. I've just screwed up. But the scores say that, it was quite close in the end.
I think this is pretty explanatory of what is, uh, if it's uh, power, if it's
Right.
some would say problem, because a lot of people hate if it's being in a lot of games, but they really are a very solid faction with a high
Yeah, they are very
floor,
strong. Mhm.
and not as strong as Firax though apparently. Um,
Yeah, not on the setup, no.
And Firax also had very consistent score, except from my game. But I think we pretty much covered what I did wrong. And I wanna just add that maybe that Firax game was a combination of me doing wrong things and Itars doing very right things. So basically, Itars took all the points that Firax could have had. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure that this series of games settles the debate on whether or not Itars just crush Firax in every game, because there is a game in which they actually managed to do exactly that. But I think I can safely say that I made some misplay, and Sharath instead made some very very clever plays.
Yeah, if you notice the PI Ithars, I think it was Sharath and you. So it had the highest score and the third highest score. Whereas the AC Ithars also had like a second. I mean, it performed uh, decently. I think this still doesn't solve the debate between PI and AC Ithars. I think we just say that both work really well.
I think
Both
that
have their weaknesses,
yeah,
uh, because the PI Ithars lacks a bit in tech tempo, and if you go for tech tempo with the PI Ithars, like I think what Babuk did, then you're sort of compromising on the expansion part of it.
exactly.
Whereas the Academy Ithars is a economic powerhouse. Like whether you play them science or economy, they're so good, and they have insane track flexibility. But when it comes to Gaia scoring, they're a bit slower to go on the Gaia track, unlike the PI Ithars. And this opens a window for maybe other fast moving factions to uh, pip them to the top or
Yeah,
get some good advanced style.
well said. I think this somehow proves a point that I make about guitars often, that they are one of the strongest faction, but by no means an easy strong faction like Ivits might be. Um, in the sense that you really have to nail the right path for eaters in that specific game to to win. Of course, you are not going to score horribly with eaters ever, but I think this game show how me and Chris failing to see the correct play um, and fail therefore to make up for the how do we say the issues with every kind of ITAR strategy make it for a very swingy faction. Uh, it was one of the faction with the highest swing in scores.
Correct, correct.
And Ambas, as I said, was really make it or break in the sense that those games where they achieved uh, to do all their federation and take advanced style on navigation, they went above 190. And the other two games where they didn't, they actually scored really similar. So that to me that only proves that there was one thing in the game like or at least some key stuff in the game that had to be taken by Canvas and failing to do so just break their game. And whereas Itars to me seems like a much more floating score differential and the
But I
difference.
think the score differential comes out of how the player handles it as well. Because in Amba's case, like you mentioned, the points differential is mainly due to being pressured on the tracks. Whether it was me pressuring Chris's Ambas on Terra, or it was also me pressuring as Itars on navigation. So I think with Ambas it was more track pressure, whereas with Itars I think it's just player style, or how they handle it, how they,
Yeah,
like for example the whole 207, I think that the first tactile he took, I would have never taken that, I would have never seen that for sure. So I think these kind of innovative moves, I mean maybe Ambas also gives that chance, but I think Itars has that, like they're so versatile that they give you a chance to do some great plays as well, I think.
they're versatile, but you have to be good enough to spot
Correct,
the right
correct.
thing to do with them. Okay, so I just looked at the time that we are taking, so we went a little bit over my expectation, but we are still in time to wrap it up before it gets uh, way too long. So I think I said everything I wanted to say. If anyone had something that they didn't had a chance to say that they thought was really important about this series of game, now it's the time.
uh,
Otherwise,
so I just wanted to comment on the general format of this series. I really enjoyed it, and I think it showed all of us how the same game played, I mean, can be played in a different way, and we had different results. We had different factions winning, maybe the same player winning, but overall, it really showed the variability that is there even within the same setup in Gaia project. Uh, I think overall the games were a lot of fun, but also to me personally, it got very stressful at some time because it's like, oh my god, like I remember this discussion happening on Discord at some point where Ariel had mentioned something, like this is what you're going to face, and he gave a long monologue about how you will feel in the game, and that's exactly how I felt, because I'm like, shit, I have to prioritize 2 ore in this game, and I go and take the 2 ore in another game. And yeah, it was stressful, but honestly I had so much fun playing it.
yeah,
And yeah, I think in the end the scores were also quite high. I mean, we say that the Ambas for Sharath was a failure, but I mean 160, it's a great score, right? It's
yeah,
just that
of
the
course,
other
of course.
Ambas had performed better, I guess. So yeah, or like for example, your no, I think it was Chris's Itar game. We were comparing it to Sharath's Itar game. 160 is still a fantastic score, and it's just that I think
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's just in the
we
context of
yeah, Yeah,
I think I
honestly,
think
I had a
these
lot of
games
fun.
proved that we are very much on the same skill level, uh,
Yeah, for sure.
wh-
I
which
think it.
is
Yeah.
which is the main thing that made uh, this series of game very very fun, very insightful, and regarding the stress, I didn't feel it as much. I felt more the frustration after I was making mistakes because I didn't give much thought to some or a lot of the moves. I think
Right.
that was also a way to deal with the stress because the less I think about it, the less I am stressed. But also, it decreases the quality of the game. But it's definitely I think that I would do again in a more relaxed manner with anyone who's up for it. Feel free to contact me, and I will be happy to do this with other that are interested in doing this experiment. And I have to say, one thing that just came to my mind, I actually did get the the itch to replay this same setup once again, uh,
Hmm.
because I'm really curious about that, the Itars Firax interaction in this game, and I'm really curious
Right.
whether uh, there's a world in which Itars are actually winning uh, all of these games if they are played correctly. If
I
they
guess
are
in this
possible,
series, I guess in this series, Ithars has to go PI in order to combat Firax, because the map and the end game, everything is great for a Gaia forming Firak. I
yeah,
mean, that was also a decision I think all of us made consciously. Why did we all do a Gaia forming Firak when we could have done a terraforming Firak? I think the map was also good. The setup was great. The round bonuses in the end, the final scoring. So I guess for an Ithar to beat a Firak really well, I guess it would have to be a PI opening going up Gaia soon. I'm
yeah,
not sure. Yeah, I think
that's for
I
sure. That's
see
for
a
sure.
way. Yeah.
The thing that I'm wondering is that basically, sharath's opening with Itars is doable every time,
Right.
except maybe with a much less charge by Firax. Firax also
Mm-hmm.
don't have to make a federation in round two like I did, but can actually expand a little bit more. Um, Therefore, yeah, I'm really curious about replaying that specific game and see uh, whether if Itars nail it every time, they just win every time this game, or because there could be some different combination. I mean, the Evits player could go up economy, considering that it was uh,
Correct.
a
Yeah.
very good line for them, which in turns means that Fear accept to go much more for a game like yours. And what
Mm-hmm.
does this make? What does that make of Itar's game? Even considering they play as good as Sharath.
Right.
So
Right.
I really got the itch of replaying this specific. Of course, we are probably not going to do it, at least not anytime soon. But
Mm,
um, yeah, to anyone viewing this, we can provide the seed. So if anyone has that, want to take that challenge and do that, even just a single game, but with the same rotation and the same factions, it's totally doable. Uh, Anyone can take that challenge. I will definitely give the seed away to anyone who asks it. On Board Game Space, it's playable. The very same setup uh, with the very same rotation, which you can just
manually
copy.
do.
Yeah, I will also provide, of course, a link to one of these games so that the rotation can be copied. It would actually, it would actually be very, very interesting if other people would play that and show us their results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that would be incredibly interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll advertise this on Discord and see if anyone takes up the challenge.
Yeah,
Uh,
do it.
okay, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thanks to all of you for the games and for participating in this stream. And see you next time.
Yeah,
Thank
it was a pleasure. Thank you, Babuk. Thank you.
Thank you. It was very good
Yeah,
actually.
it was fun. Yeah, it was fun playing these games, and yeah, hope we do it against us sometime.
of course.
Yeah.
And
But we'll wait a
and I'm
little
just
bit.
Any
after.
last words from the winner of 3 games?
Oh please.
Oh, please.
What's your diet?
Oh,
What do you eat? What do you drink? What's your energy drink?
My energy lol, don't ask anything. But
So not eating and not drinking is the way.
oh, true.
Uh, don't eat, don't drink, just play Gaia and
Exactly.
That's what
destroy everyone at it.
actually.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
See you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Good
Bye
game.
bye. See you
bye
guys.
bye